Welcome back, Illumineers, to another Lorcania video. Today we're taking a look at the most popular meta deck right now in Pixelborn. I'm of course talking about the Steelsong Midrange that is dominating the ladder. So over the course of the video, we'll go over the decklist, strategy, but we'll also discuss some cheaper alternative cards to reduce the cost of the deck, so you can try it out with your friends. At the end of the video, we also included two fantastic matchups with the deck. So the deck is utilizing a combination of really strong steel cards, some strong action cards, and card draw to try and stay ahead of the opponent. It's really good against aggro, but it fares pretty decently against control. Let's begin by going over our deck list and some of the choices. We start with 4 copies of Captain Hook, who is particularly good against 3 health characters and can trade very well with aggro decks. For the same reason, we also include 4 copies of Eric, that is just an upgraded version of Hook with 1 extra health. Typically, we only ever need to play 1 or 2 copies of these 2 cards, and the rest is used as ink later on in the match. Our next card on the list is Ariel, which is one of the 3 main components of the deck. She can search the deck for a song card and can be used to sing expensive songs for free. Essentially, Ariel always pays for her cost with just her effect, and can be comboed amazingly with some of our next cards. Together with her, we also include the following song cards. First, we have 4 copies of Be Our Guest, that is typically used for ink, but can also be used to search for answers when in a tough spot. On top of that, we have 4 copies of Hakuna Matata, that is 95% of the time used just as an ink resource. We also include 2 copies of Part of Your World as a way to recover in the match later on, and 4 copies of Grab Your Sword for the amazing 2 damage on everything effect. Moving on, we have 4 copies of Tinkerbell, and 4 copies of the upgraded version of Tinkerbell, Giant Fairy. Giant Fairy can crush aggro with 1 damage on everything, she can shift on turn 4 for pressuring the opponent, and she can do 2 damage whenever she manages to banish a character. The small Tinkerbell is used as a tempo, ink resource, or as a way to bring out the expensive Tink a bit earlier on. We are also including 4 copies of Rapunzel for draw and also synergy with another princess card later on. Generally, this is a really expensive card, but it's one of the very few draw options right now in Amber. We also include 3 copies of Hans, that he has a really good effect to deal 1 damage to anything every time he quests. Don't forget you can even combo with damaging your own characters and using Rapunzel to heal them. Next on our list we have Moana, that can synergize very well with our other princess cards, can quest for 3, and she has enough health to stick around for quite a bit. Of course, we are also including 4 copies of Beast, given the heavy inclusion of item cards in control decks, and for additional card draw, we also have 4 copies of Stitch, which can also be used to quest for 2. His prime stats will also let him stay alive for much longer and get you some nice lore. Our final character is Cerberus, with 2 copies that can be used as an additional shield against aggro, or can also be traded very nicely with 5/5 characters such as Aladdin. For our final 2 cards, we have 2 actions, so we keep 4 copies of Smash to deal with many non-exotic characters, and 3 copies of You Have Forgotten Me to thin out opponent's hand while we're ahead. Now, before we move on to the strategy, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more weekly Lorcana content. It's absolutely free, but really helps us out. The deck has a really nice tempo, with very decent early game with Hook and Eric to stop most of the aggro cards. For turn 3, we're ideally looking for an Ariel or Tinkerbell. With Ariel, we aim to grab one of the song cards to be used as a free ink resource, but against aggro, we might also want to fish out a Grab Your Sword card to be sunk for free from Ariel to decimate the opponent's field. With Tinkerbell, it's particularly nice to set her up for a turn 4 Giant Fairy that really pushes the opponent into a corner. When we are ahead, it's also a good idea to try to reduce the opponent's options with You Have Forgotten Me. Our cards are mostly high health ones, so it's also pretty easy to draw at least 2 with Rapunzel. For the late game, we are aiming for Moana, Stitch, Tinkerbell and Cerberus to deal with the threats and quest for the win. In general, all song cards that can be inked are probably aimed in that way, unless they can provide some good value right then. So right now, Part of the World is a choice I don't really like for the deck, but Chapter 1 has really limited options for songs in Amber. If your opponent plays control, you might want to not go for Eric and Hook in the first turns of the game and just use them as a way to ramp up to Ariel and your heavier threats. Additionally, Beast can really affect Ruby decks and Amethyst decks, since they typically run Magic Mirror, Ursula's Cauldron, Stopwatch and Shield of Truth. Now, before we jump to the matches, we have a lot of really expensive cards that are hard to get. The three main ones are Rapunzel, Stitch, and Tinkerbell. So for Rapunzel and Stitch, you can always go for a Cinderella or part of your world cards, but they don't synergize as well. I guess we will see in chapter 2 if we get any alternative card draw for Amber. You can also try to include Hades for getting some cards back into your hand, but the main issue with both the Song and the Hades card is they're both inkless and might trap you for a bit. Now for Tinkerbell, I really don't have any alternative card. She's such a strong card right now, and I think she will continue to do so in chapter 2. My advice is to try and grab some ariels now that they're really cheap, because their value will only go up as more song cards get printed. For the rest of the cards, they are pretty reasonable to acquire, so I don't think they pose any issue. The deck is a true dynamite right now, so check it out. If you find an alternative card for Tinkerbell, let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we hope you enjoy the next matches. Until the next time, brave adventurers.